Hey everyone, it's Will, GamerDad, with another video for you. So hopefully everyone's updated to 2.9.5, and of course there's a couple of updates, one of which wasn't actually announced. So for those who've been following along, there is actually a hidden update for the cat stamps. So if you've maxed out your 950 cat stamps, you'll now be able to press on those cats in the Phantom Crystal Dimension and start collecting more for additional rewards. So watch for that in your next White Gate key. On another note, in tonight's episode of Should You Summon, we'll discuss the different banners that are featured in tonight's update along with Akane AS's manifest. Now if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me that way. So first of all, this is the one that most people are probably thinking about and talking about, which is the Weapon Discovery Manifestation Star Dream. Now note that this Star Dream piece expires 30 days from the time you summon this Fateful, and this does require 1,000 paid stones, and note that it does last for 60 days, so you can actually wait up to 6 months or December 5th before actually pulling on it, although I recommend probably pulling it on December 1st or 2nd if you really want to wait till the end. So for those who are not familiar with Star Dreams, we've had a few, although they are relatively rare. All units are available in the banner from pulls 1 to 10. It does not guarantee a 5-star in any way. However, as a paid banner, you do have access to the newest units such as Garen Barrel, Nakoko, AS Victor, and so on and so forth. I won't spend AS Miyunfa. I won't spend too much time here because, the odds are the odds. So again, to reiterate, this does not guarantee a 5-star on the pulls 1 to 10. However, after that, you'll get a Star Dream piece, which, like I said, expires 30 days from the time you summon this, and you can get any unit up to tonight's update of a unit that has a manifest battle to fight. And so we have, of course, Akane AS, Alulu, and it goes down in order of release. So the newest one is Akane in top, and then we can scroll all the way down in no particular order to Annabelle on the bottom. Okay, and you can actually select AS units as well, as long as they do have manifest battle. So for example, AS Suzette, AS Iska, so on and so forth. So the question really is, should you summon? The real answer depends on how far in the game you are at and what units you still require. The problem with manifest Star Dreams in general is that it doesn't feature the newest units, although of course on pulls 1 to 10 you do have access to the newest units. But in terms of the Star Dream selection, the newest unit you're essentially selecting is someone like AS Akane, for example, or Alulu, both of which are over a year old. And so in that sense, you're not getting the best bang for your buck. However, if you've already used your first Star Dream from the Goddess of Time, which is up here, then you might have to use the second one if you still choose to kind of augment your team. And so for those who are interested, this is just kind of my quick opinion of units to watch out for in terms of what to consider. And if you don't need any of the units, of course, or need very few, I would advise against summoning on this banner, being that they're probably better banners to summon on. But still, if you need a specific unit on this list, let's go right ahead and get right into it. So on my first list or first priority, let's discuss the Mythos update that's coming out in Japan. So if you've been following the subreddit, they have had some sneak peeks in Japan for the newest Mythos, which focuses on future, and it has kind of like a alternate reality or dark versions of parallel time layers, Iska, for example, Suzette, and Dewey. Now, we don't know about Pramaya's role. However, in this case, Pramaya does not have manifest, so she is not selectable anyways. And so, on the first list, I would definitely consider, if you don't have them already, Iska AS and Suzette AS. Now, the advantage of choosing the AS versions over the regular ones is that it's much easier to side grade with 5 chants rather than doing it the other way and choosing the normal styles and then needing 5 additional treatises along with those chants. Now keep in mind that Iska AS being that her manifest is very recent, is still a very powerful unit, has that dual debuff 30-30, obviously can set up, and her one-shot AoE can really do a lot of damage. And my waifu Suzette AS, of course, is still very, very valuable on Pierce Wind DPS teams. But the thing is, we know that Suzette now has a true manifest, and so the normal style is going to rise back to the top of the Wind DPS charts. And so if you don't have a Suzette or an Iska, you might want to consider selecting one of those as your top pick for this Star Dream. I'll mention Dewey as well. However, that's more of a speculative play, being that Dewey with manifest, I wouldn't say is nearly as powerful, although he still has use in boosting certain teams and also increasing the crit damage of your units by 50%. That being said, Dewey AS has not ever been released yet, and so if you do get Dewey, you may be able to speculate for AS or potentially a parallel time layers version of him. Now on the next priority would be anyone who can side grade into a zone unit. So quickly speaking, we're talking about Vayna, which can side grade to Vayna AS, Radika AS, Claude, which can go to Claude AS, Nagi, which can eventually become ES, and that is released in Japan in the near future, which is I think a Starry Skies zone, Tsukiya, which can go to the ES, the Pierce zone, Yuna AS, Annabelle AS for the water zones, and that pretty much sums it up. If you do require any of those units and have no forms of them, then this is your next batch of units to consider pulling from. Of all of these, I would say, realistically speaking, if you're missing a wind zone, Vayna AS would probably be the better, like Vayna's manifest, which can side grade into AS, might be a better choice for overall wind zone unit as a setter. However, Vayna normal style is not very good. Now, in contrast, Claude normal style is a great Pierce zone support unit, and his AS is not bad, although not nearly as high utility as Vayna AS. And of course, with Radika, her normal style, again, not the greatest, although AS is pretty good as a fire zone setter. We've already mentioned Nagi. Tsukiya ES is a very interesting unit in that the fact that she is a very powerful wind Pierce zone setter is great. However, you must consider that you can get AS foreign already, essentially for free, and Sheila AS is coming out in the near future, which is a free Pierce Zone Water DPS. Finally, in terms of Yuna and Annabelle AS as your Water Zone setters, I would say if you had to select between the two, probably Annabelle for her AS might be a better choice just by a little bit. I find that Yuna AS as a Water Zone setter lacks the power to really do a lot of damage, more for support. I think Annabelle AS is a great Water Zone setter, and her normal style is great for tanking, which is still useful if you don't have 2-turn setups with like Melissa or other top DPS units. Alright, so next on the list would be units I consider relatively useful versus kind of speculating for exposure for the future. So for example, Renri normal style is great. With Manifest, she has that dual diva plus 50% speed down. Very, very useful to control the battle. If you select Melina, you have access to side grade to ES, which is a very powerful support unit. Same with Yuan, obviously can go to AS. You got Myris or Miris. Mariel, which is still useful in most super boss fights, and with Manifest, she is extremely awesome. The problem is that AS form, not the greatest, and so keep that in mind. But hey, no harm in choosing Mariel if you need her to kind of augment your healing team. And finally, Alulu is the interesting pick as well. Now, she's one of the more recent Manifest units, and if you've been following Japan, there is a Purgatory ensemble where they kind of feature a new unit, Daisy, which is, spoiler alert, Alulu's boss. And so it has kind of like a focus on all the past of the Purgatory units. There is Zaviro, Alulu, Daisy, and I forgot who else. Anyways, maybe in the future, Alulu will get her ES form. She already has an AS. And so that's a speculative play as well. And then finally, just honorable mentions. Keep in mind that just like Suzette having her true manifest weapon, Mighty and Xion, which is one of the original 5-star units, both have been announced as eventually getting the true manifest as well. So we don't know how powerful they are, but we know they're getting it. And so, I mean, if you really want to choose Xion, go ahead. Okay, so hopefully that long discussion does give you some idea of kind of the considerations of selecting a Star Dream unit from this manifest, being that it's much more restrictive than the traditional Star Dream. And leave me some comments below if you have some decisions to make, if you're planning to summon on this, or if you have most of, if not all the units, in which case you're just going to pass and save your 1,000 paid stones for the future. Alright, so 2 other banners that are both available for free units, free to plays, as well as for paid players. Now this is interesting. The manifest weapon discovery chosen one is a, I'll say, semi-uprated banner where they've chosen 4 manifest units to kind of promote. So we've got Claude, and I did mention Claude as a great Pierce support. That's the featured one. Obviously the AS is not out yet. There's Iska AS, which is featured. Again, very, very useful. There's Leclerc AS, and as a water Pierce dual debuffer, she has access to both of those, and it's very powerful DPS as well. Not bad. And finally, the aforementioned Dewey, which we talked about as a potential for an AS or some feature in the newest Mythos in the future. Other than that, you've got the Garen Barrels of the world, all the newest ones, and these are lower odds. I don't think, I can't even see if T Maiden is here. Let's take a look here. Miufa T Maiden is not here. So again, most free banners don't have all the newest units. But still, Garen Barrel, Nakoko are all here, and so on and so forth. Bots, Rainbow Sisters, and Knights. If you're planning to use free stones for this banner, honestly, I would probably give it a pass unless you really need 3 out of the 4 units. Even at 2 out of 4, you are taking a big chance. The uprate is really 0.3 for the normal, like for the 4.5, and then 0.5 for the 5-star. And so, it's okay, but knowing that we have more powerful units in the future, especially with, like I said, some power creep going on, I'm not sure I would recommend using any stones to aim to summon older units. You rather hope that they spook you in an off-banner pull rather than concentrating your pulls on them. Now that being said, these units are still very useful, and I use them regularly in my team comps. So that's something to be said for that. But in general, I would probably pass and go for a future banner unless you absolutely love multiple units and are missing, like I said, 3 or 4 of the units. And finally, I won't spend too much time on the last banner, AS Akane. This is the featured manifest in this update. She's going to be awesome. She's going to be a high-end fire/DPS unit based on speed. She's got a katana. And basically, like most AS manifest updates, during the AF, she won't consume her stacks, allowing her to hit multiple times, and her DPS will go through the roof. When I do finally get the manifest level 10, I will try to do a 5-star review on her. But that being said, do not, for any reason, spend stones to summon on this banner. I'm hoping that you have the 5 treatises just from farming and playing the game regularly to side grade your 4-star Akane, because most of us would have had a 4-star Akane just by summoning throughout the times as we're playing the game. Do not summon on this banner. You're going to regret it, especially when you need stones for the likes of Pichika, for example. So there you have it. A few different banners. Apologize for spending a lot more time on the Star Dream one. I figured that some of you may need some, I guess, suggestions as to what to choose. As for myself, as you probably know, I already have AS Akane, and of the weapon discovery manifestation, I have all 4 units, and so I will not be spending any stones on these banners. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.